Introducing a new technology layering engine for broadcast, live venues, and presentations. Multi-lane keying and mixed effects with an extraordinary intuitive iPad interface. New from Ensemble Designs.
Hello, I'm David Austerberry from Broadcast Engineering magazine. I'm here at the NAB 2012 with Dan Shockey from CNN. So hi Dan.
Hi Dave.
Can you tell me a bit about what you do at CNN?
Well, my title is Chief Video Engineer, but actually what I do is I'm the lead architect for most of our digital records and edit systems.
Now, what we're going to talk about today is a project you're working on with the AMWA called AS10. So can you tell me a bit more about this project?
Well, AS10 was actually conceived a couple years ago, and we finally got some momentum about a year ago on it. And basically what we're trying to do is come up with a capability of using a single file from ingest and acquisition all the way through edit and then on to archive and fulfillment, all the way out to play out.
So this is to avoid any transcoding?
Trying to avoid transcoding,
concatenation.
Yeah, concatenation, trying to avoid manipulating the media at any cost, because the main goal is time to air, to get that file out.
Right, so it's time to air more than keeping the picture quality up?
Well, if you don't have to manipulate the file, you're going to have a good quality picture. The more you transcode, obviously you'll lose some of your resolution. So that's another key aspect. And then trying to keep an infrastructure that allows you to pass a very small file around that has good quality is very important as well. So we've settled at CNN 35 megabits. If you transcode that, you're going to lose some of your resolution. So obviously if you could pull it in and keep it at the same resolution, keep the file moving through the production workflow with all of the other vendors for a best of breed infrastructure, you're going to be ahead of the game.
So why do you need this AS10 specification?
Well, it's interesting because you can interpret a spec, and if you look at the MXF specification, there's multiple specifications that make up MXF, and developers can interpret those specifications differently and implement things a little differently. So what we try to do is come up with a specification, an application specification, which is what AMWA does, and come up with the actual components and parts of the specification that will make this an interoperable file, and also best practices that you could use, such as being able to edit while the file is ingesting, which is very key to having time to air.
Yeah.
And so, as you may know, lots of vendors implement that kind of functionality different in the specification.
So are you shooting on XD-Cam?
XD-Cam, yes.
So the basic workflow is based upon the SMPTE RDD9.
It is based on SMPTE RDD9 2006. And so with addition to the RDD9 spec, and Sony's been very helpful with us keeping that momentum moving forward, and actually are a partner in the AS10 space and have helped us develop the validation portion of the AS10 spec. But there's additional stuff that we need along with just the RDD9, such as how do we actually really store the metadata that is going to work through the production workflow end to end is one component. And then again, how do we actually access that media while it's being written so that we can edit it in place? So those are some things that we're working with some of our other vendors, but we want to make sure we get a good standard implementation of that. So that's where AS10 comes in.
Now you were saying that you're going to take this right through to archive. So
yes.
How many years does CNN
That's a really good question, and we've got about 7 petabytes of online media right now. We've got 25 plus years of media on tapes that we're encoding into our digital archive. And so that's really a key piece, that we want to make sure that we archive that in its raw format, which is, if we're using AS10, will then work again once you fulfill it out to the production workflow.
Do you archive the professional discs, or do you move the files onto other media?
Yes, we ingest from the discs, and the key would be to ingest it into that standard format. Then you can use that media in your edit workflow, And after you're done editing, you can then archive it, and it will be stored in that same raw format. Obviously, if we have affiliates or someplace we need to distribute that media to, then there might be a transcode that change it to their format as it goes out of the house.
Now, in the past, the development of standards and specifications has sometimes taken a longer period of time than people were really expecting. So can you talk a bit about the expected timescale of this development?
Well, we would hope that we can finish up somewhere around the end of Q2 this year. And we're on target to do that. We've got a couple meetings that we're going to use to accelerate that process, but we do have a reference implementation already of the spec. What we have left to do is the metadata portion, and then also how we do the capability to edit while ingest.
Now, I believe one of the key parts of this project is the golden master files.
Yes, so we will also have golden master file capability along with a reference implementation, which is something standard that AmLaw does. And then there's the follow-on that you're going to hear a little bit more about at NAB, which is interoperability for real, where we're actually going to be able to have certifications of these specifications, and AS10 is a candidate for one of those certifications.
So does that mean on a vendor's brochures we could be seeing AS10 listed in the specification?
That's exactly what it means, so that they can market that, and that saves the consumers a lot of issues with testing that media in their own house.
So when you're building a system, you can see this piece of equipment supports AS10, this does, so you then know you can plug them together.
Yes. And that should assist you greatly in your QA, in your QC of that media.
So it's taken a long time really for file-based operations to be as easy to interface as plugging BNCs together.
Right. It's all about just making it work, right?
Yeah. So thanks very much for
Thank you.
telling us about AS10, and I guess we should be seeing the release of the specification, as you say, at the end of Q2 this year.
We should.
Well, thank you very much, Dan.
Thanks a lot, Dave.
Thank you.